Okay, delivery. Basically, we need to be more descriptive, right?
We have done a SWOT analysis for the ABC score. About the strength, as we mentioned before, it can be used anywhere, anytime, and we also have exclusive partnership with prestigious university. And we think that one of the strengths is a low cost because we don't need any classroom, we don't need any teachers that in person. So and also the marginal cost is zero. And the resources is also very easy to update because it's an online platform. And also we have the experienced staff in the education industry already in our team. So we think that they are great.
Marginal cost. What are no marginal costs? What are the costs? What are the costs? What's your cost of delivery? Apart from teacher.
The costs are like we define more fixed. For example, the materials and the teachers. And for marginal costs, it's like every lecturer or every tutorial we provide, we don't need to hire the classrooms costs. And also
no classroom, but telecom cost. We have telecom cost.
So about the weakness, we think that is it's not face to face. So some people will have strong tradition belief that face to face is better. So that is one of the possibility. And also we think that maybe it's lack of interaction because it's just over the phone and online. So some other language skills can be picked through another kind of interaction. And we also face the potential infringement about our products because it's an online platform and you never know. It's very hard to protect the copyright somehow. And also, we may have technology limitation, especially in the second tier, third tier cities, or even villages, because those people don't even have a computer, not to say internet service. And we also think that because this is a one-to-one service, we may not have enough manpower to be the teachers at the very beginning of our operation. And also the time difference between overseas countries and because English, Chinese already is maybe 12 hours different, so that may be one of the problems that we were facing. And about the opportunity, we think that because of globalization, the needs of learning new languages has been increased, and also there is some potential market that we can explore. For example, elderly people, disabled people, in the past it's maybe a little bit hard for them to go to school and learn new languages, but through the online platform, also the telephone conversation, it may increase the opportunity. And also the business need between different countries nowadays, also one of the reasons of globalization, it's a must for them to have the language ability in order to do business. And also, nowadays, you always say cultural exchange, so we think this can also enhance the opportunity for business to do success. And finally, we see some threats, there are many competitors already in the market, and also because of globalization, a lot of foreigners actually move around the world. So they can do the face-to-face teaching already instead of using the phone. And we're also uncertain about the market response about our product. That's it. Thank you.
That's a good list of SWOT analysis. In terms of opportunity, I want to comment on one thing. Something when these companies started, they didn't think about, but that's actually an interesting market. Think about a Japanese mother who needs to take care of a young kid. Learning English through the phone is actually perfect. She doesn't want to. She cannot go to a school because she needs to take care of the kid, and she has the time because she's at home after doing all the housework. And Japanese want to learn foreign language, especially English. So that's something. Sometimes when you start thinking about the opportunity, the new things that came up, and it's actually perfect. And this is a perfect solution for. And they have money, right? Because they control the finance of the family. So, okay, next group.
We are targeting on the spectacle market. So, at the very beginning, we are just focusing on the segment for the underprivileged person. So, at the beginning, we just alliance with the NGOs and the government of the developing country that we are going to sell this product, or we are going to develop and distribute this kind of product, and also get some information on the landscape of the market. So within 3 months, we are going to establish a systematic distribution channel, or maybe we are just make confirmation on the distribution channels, or maybe we can just get know of how they are working around and start to distribute all the spectacles within maybe 3 or 4 cities. And also within 3 to 5 years, we should just duplicate our whole system to enter maybe 20 or 30 of the developing cities that maybe we're just targeting on. And by that time, we should be already gain all the experience and all the resources that we need to further develop our product, and maybe we can fit another segment. Yeah, so like this. So within maybe 5 to 10 years time, so we are going to have an international expansion. And just now, we did mention that the spectacles maybe have some use and some kind of emergency relief. So that we can just fit each and every market that may have some catastrophes like earthquake or things like this. We can just develop and do some more research on how they would appreciate our product, just like maybe we can just diversify our product like that, so that we could benefit from the revenue from that kind of market. So at the 5th stage, we can, after all those things are settled, we can just think of how we can shift our product line, or maybe just make it more friendly to meet the future requirements. So in the 5th stage, yeah, thank you.
Just some comments, actually. In a real situation, when you do an implementation plan, you're doing it in the board or in the executive meeting, no one will believe a 5 to 10 years implementation plan, because implementation plan usually has to be something like maybe 12 months, maybe up to 18 months, but there's something very tangible in what you can actually do near term. Because when you start talking about 5 to 10 years, no one will go up. I mean, I wouldn't believe it. 5-10 years, the world has changed. And if you actually do this in 5 years' time, you're not in the market. Someone else would have done it. Someone else would have done it. Because if you are here showing the world you have this product, by the time 3 to 5 years, someone else will already conquer those markets. So if you actually try to do it, you should do it earlier. And you can't talk about implementation plan 5 years later. Right? So when you write your implementation plan, write something near term. Okay. Do we have another group?
Sorry for the writings. Yeah.
This is a Christmas card.
Yeah, Christmas card. Yeah, more or less. Yeah, well, basically our company is providing language on e-learning language courses, basically English and Chinese to make it simple. For Chinese, the market is in US and UK mainly. And for like Chinese, it's basically for English, you're basically targeting rural area. I mean, second to third tier cities in China. So what things do we need? First of all, content. Basically, when we leverage with the establish partnership with established universities, so that you can get the brand name like Harvard, Hong Kong U. And then in terms of content, they have really long establishment. They have like 100. I mean, for Hong Kong U, for example, there is a long history of English courses development. And how do we provide the courses? Basically, to lower the cost, we actually employ the university students, which have the bilingual characteristics, which we found a lot in Hong Kong, for example. They can speak fluent Chinese and English, so like to facilitate both. And we have a system of recruitment. We see through exams, and yeah, so we only pick the top ones. And then we need the IT as well. IT is basically the most is like we basically IT we do it outsourced. For example, for information, those with circles is what we do our own or core competency. Those without circles is basically all outsourced. For IT, yeah, we go to like India because that's the cheapest place. Then we basically need VoIP technologies and then online platform establishment of the database and stuff. So infrastructure, we have 2 call centers, one in China, Beijing, and because that's the most native speakers, and Philippines, where English speakers is relatively cheap than Hong Kong. And how we deliver, basically deliver and marketing come hand in hand because in terms of lowering the marketing cost, we actually co-partner with all the communication providers. Like for US, it's Verizon and AT&T. For China, it's Liancom, because I can't think of other names. And UK, and I'm not sure about UK, so UK telecommunication. And basically, we need legal services as well. So marketing, another we'll do our own is like through social network to lower the cost, like Renren in China and Facebook in UK and US. So basically, it's all the gap analysis we have done. Yeah, thank you.
That's actually quite interesting. Let me tell you a little bit on the real case what actually happened. In terms of content, if you think about it, the best, I mean, let's talk about English content. The best company that has all the content are Pearson, right?
Yeah.
Cambridge University Press, Oxford University Press, Macmillan. These are the English language publishers. They have all the content. I learned from Pearson's book in Hong Kong, right? But none of them actually have what we need here because the traditional way of learning English, they always assume that you are in front of the content, whether you are online or whether you are reading from a book. But when you're actually creating content for people who speak on the phone, the person may not be actually reading from the material. So you need to repurpose these content. Of course, you're still teaching them, how are you, how do you do, what's your name, what do you do. You're still teaching them the same thing, but then...
There's a reason we draw the love there. Basically, it's half we're using the resources from the university, then the half is basically how we customize to phone.
Yeah.
To adapt to phone. Yeah.
So in the real case, the content is a gap indeed. Because you cannot just use the existing content. You can't ask someone multiple choice. So tell me, is it A, is it B, is it C? You can't do that on the phone or not effectively. So the content is actually quite an interesting gap that we actually encounter at that time. What else here? In terms of the market for learning Mandarin, actually the company decided that the first group of people for Mandarin market was not UK and US. But I mean, Europe and US is a good market to be, but that's not actually the low-hanging fruit. Where do you think is a better place for the low-hanging fruit for people who want to learn Mandarin? I'll tell you why. First of all, I'll tell you why it's difficult for US and Europe. If you are learning a language over the phone, it's easier if you already speak a little bit of that language. And then you start picking up and learning, that's when you improve most. But for the people in US or Europe, they are probably beginners, and it's going to be quite hard to learn on the phone. So who would be the target market? Southeast Asia, so Japan and Korea actually. Typically they may have some knowledge of Chinese. And this would be actually really helpful for them to find a Mandarin speaker to practice with. No, it's just because I know the case, so I can tell you these things. But it is natural to first think of US and Europe first. It's quite natural, but it's just that it's going to be a challenge for this business to do that, because you need someone to already speak a little, and then they practice, and then they learn a lot. One other thing which is quite interesting was you mentioned outsourced to India for the software, but then the call center in the Philippines, I think. Actually, the company actually went to Malaysia for in KL, in Saigon, because you're teaching language over the phone. If the teacher also speaks a little bit, or even speak the language of the student, then it's actually, you can help them, it's easier. So since the target market for English is China, so you need the teacher to be able to speak Mandarin or Cantonese. And the reason that it wasn't in China, the call center, was because if you are in China and you speak good English, you won't be teaching English in the call center. Because you can find a better job, right? In China, you speak perfect English and things. But in Malaysia, it's not bad at all. There are lots of people in Malaysia, a sizable chunk of the population, Chinese of course, who can speak Chinese and English in Malaysia, and they don't mind. In fact, it's not a bad job at all to be in the call center as a teacher. So that's why the call center was actually in Malaysia, and not, there was a reason why not Philippines and not India, for the same reason. I can tell you, however, in the end, they actually did move the call center from Malaysia back to China, because people want to
Native, right?
they want native speakers. So it wasn't the fact that whether they can speak Mandarin or so in the end, the best group of teacher cheaply, you talk about supply of teachers cheaply, was actually finding some American-born Chinese student or in Europe. So someone who's actually a native English speaker, but because of their family, they don't write Chinese, but they actually speak Chinese. Well, not fluently, but then they can speak some Chinese. And they are students earning a fee, earning extra money, so they are cheap, relatively, and they speak perfect English, and then they speak some Chinese. Actually, that would have been a better source of teacher. But anyway, I thought that's, but I like it because people, you all consider some of the elements, and you start being creative about the thing. We have one more group on the last case.
Technology to make adjustable lens, but we still don't have the manufacturer for us to produce the lens. So that will have manufacturer will play an important role in our business. So for the second one, because there are no existing companies, lens company to reach the developing country. So we don't know how we have to do to promote our product and do the marketing in the developing country. And for the third point, we are considering if we will expand our market to developed country, but we have to add something so that we can sell our lens in developed countries. So we need the technical or professional advice on how to add value on our product. And for the final point, we may promote our product on the internet, but I think it can be done by our company, but we don't I don't know how to say.
Some help from
Just the alternative ways for the customer to buy our glass product. That means we should provide more channels for the customers.
What's the gap?
Yeah, now many of the companies do not provide the online service for customer to bid our product. So if we provide some online channels for them, it is more convenient.
What I'm saying is you should term this in terms of gap. You have a gap in the channel, and you think that the solution would be if we sell on eBay or Yahoo or Taobao, then that will fill the gap. I think that's the. I mean, you're telling people that the gap is in the distribution, and these are the possible solutions to fill that gap, including eBay, including. It's just a different way of framing the question. Okay. How do you plan to do the manufacturing?
We suggest set up a firm in mainland China. As we have the skills to manufacturing glasses, so if we set up a firm in the mainland China, then it can save our costs.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's quite common. Yeah. Made in China. Good. Okay. I think that was fun. Okay. I think we are a little behind schedule, so we'll try to speed up. There are lots of things we try to cover today. The next thing is on financial analysis. I think we have already done some of these, I think, in previous sections. So what are the content in terms of the financial analysis? You can do some sales forecasting. You can do some budgeting. And I want to introduce a concept called activity-based budgeting. So it's not just the cost budgeting, but activity-based. Will tell you a little bit on how to do cash flow projections. And from that, you will know what will be the investment requirement and to work out what are the potential return for investor. So let's look at them. Now, why would you want to do sales forecasting? It's a good planning practice. And the people need to quantify your business. So sales forecast would be one of them. Now, if you are already an established company, that's much easier and it's more meaningful. If you are a new company, it's more like an exercise that to train you to understand your market, to think about all the possible sales revenue that's coming in. So you can quantify your business. And we're going to introduce more. We already talked about the top-down and bottom-up approach. But all in all, whatever methodology that you adopt, you should always do the reality check. What I tend to do when I actually see a business plan from investor, from venture, I always try to halve their revenue forecast. Whatever they say, I just take half of that. Whatever cost they say, I would double it. Because these are startup, right? They have no idea, they don't cover everything, and they always overestimate the revenue. So I will try to see, even that still makes sense. Then we look at the numbers more closely and see whether it really makes sense. So you need to do some reality check. So that's why you need to try different ways to try to do the forecast. And if they still come up with a sensible number, then I think you are in a good range, at least in terms of order of magnitude. Now, as I said, you are trying to create a social enterprise plan. So you have no historical data, you have no channel partners, you have no product pricing yet. So you have to find something that's comparable. So if you are selling a pair of glasses, then people are already buying glasses. There must be some comparable product that we can look at. Or there are some comparable companies providing the same service. If you can find neither, then you have to be a little bit more creative. We'll show how to be creative. Well, some group already talked about this also in that slide. So to do your top-down or bottom-up approach, you need to understand the market, understand your customers. So these are some of the techniques you can use. What is the demographics? What are their age, gender? Are they married? Are they divorced? Are they single? What are the family size? Are you targeting people with children? what are the education level? How about the disposable income? And interest. Now we already, some groups said second tier, third tier cities with a family income $10,000, 10,000 RMB a month. That's a good description of some sort, right? Some said 1 to 5 years of education or working experience. That's a very, very valid point. This is the target market. So when you actually describe that to someone, to the investor or someone, they can even picture what your customer actually look like, right? Then you know. Now, I think in terms of targeting some customer, usually you describe a very, very sharp image of something. But then that's a good thing because you always have spillover. Even though someone doesn't fit exactly of your description, they may find this product interesting. I mean, when iPhone first started, who would have thought, right? They thought maybe the geek or the techie would use it, right? But it's not true. And if you think about the iPad now, a lot of people say, it's just a bigger iPhone. But actually, no. A lot of my friends have been telling me they bought an iPad and then their mother, or actually in those cases, mother-in-law, they actually they took it and then they quickly get the hang of it. That's something that my friend, these techie friends, they never thought that the mother-in-law would ever use something like this. But they make it so easy. But iPad would never tell you they target the mother-in-law, right? So that's a spillover. But doesn't matter. But you have to be very clear in your mind who you are targeting. And it doesn't matter. You can as many people you can net from that spillover that you can get they are all bonuses. But even though you can find your target customer, there are still constraints that you need to consider. Whether you actually have a distribution channel to reach them. Whether you have the ability to cover them geographically. Citing the example before, 300 second tier city or third tier city, can you go to every one of them? The answer is probably no, unless you're China Mobile, right? So, why or how you can actually cover and how much geographically. And there will be some production constraint. In the e-learning case will be the teacher. Can you scale up to have enough teachers? In the eyeglasses case is, can you actually manufacture, to meet the demand? That will be, constrained by your production. So even though your market is 1 billion people who need to wear glasses, you just cannot produce 1 billion pair of glasses in a short period of time. So these are all the constraints that will reduce the amount of sales that you can actually make. So once you have understood your consumer, there are more things that you have to look at. So how much can you actually charge, right? If there are already a market price for something similar, you can't charge too much, right? Although I would say maybe iPhone has kind of pushed the pricing higher somewhat, right? They are in the $5,000 Hong Kong range to even 6,000 at some point, which is much higher than any usually the phone, right? So they really created a true segment of smartphones. But then they are different. So if you have something comparable, people are not going to pay too much more unless your solution is really, really extra compelling. Are you making something that people will come back and buy? I mean, in the eyeglasses case, everybody was trying to tell us, you buy one pair and you will never come back. You will never be my customer ever. That's bad, but I hope you will buy a second pair for whatever reason. I will buy a third pair. So how many times do they actually repeat? In the e-learning case, then you can repeat and you buy more. You advance your levels and so on. I mean, it's true. Like the shoes, the crop, right? The crop. They were at some point they were in trouble. At first, everybody loved to buy the crop, the high, heavy-duty plastic. But then they run into problem because nobody buys a second pair. And then the people who really love buying those shoes they have already exhausted the market. So this would affect you at some point. What is the sales cycle? Is it easy to just you see it, you buy it, or is it okay, I explained to it once, I explained to it twice, 3 times, and then you go back and you have a family meeting, and then you say, okay, I will buy this.